Good morning. We're now standing in Parshas Truma. And if we look on any Parsha, the name of the Parsha has to have a connection with the whole Parsha. And the reason is it has the content of the whole Parsha. If you look into this week's Torah portion, you don't see that at first glance. You don't see any connection. Vasuli Mikdash, make for me a Mikdash, and the building of all the Kalim, the Ara in the Shulchan, but not Truma. Truma is the first things in the Parasha, but that's about it. And then there's other Trumas also. There's only one kind of Truma. This Truma that Reish Arisei Terimul Hashem, the first of your growing things you should bring to Hashem. First of your Tvua, first of your crop. There are other Trumas. So what is Truma doing over here? And what kind of lesson can we learn also from the Mishkan? The Mishkan was not everlasting. The Mishkan was arai, a temporary thing. Now we're looking more on a Beis HaMikdash. And every mitzvah we do, we build a Beis HaMikdash. An everlasting edifice. So what can we learn from the Mishkan? First thing the Torah tells us that the only way you can make a dwelling place for God is only with the commandment of God. Va'asuli mikdash rechanti b'seicham. There's a very big wonder in Nach. The whole world, all the worlds are not a vessel for your essence. And this small building is a dwelling place for you? So we cannot do it on our own. Everything we do can only reach our source of our neshama. But our avodah does not come onto the Eibishter's commandment. And like we know that the Avos fulfilled Torah before it was given. But they don't have that essence of God in their world. It was all theoretically. Like it says, we get the essence, they got only a reach, a scent, which that was only makif. It did not internalize in them. And then, so all this is basically according to the mitzvah of Hashem. Va'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'seicham. But we're not always looking for God, that God should accomplish. It says a person would rather have his work and his accomplish more than someone else's accomplishments. He wants one kav of his own and to have 9 kavim of a friend. And Hashem wanted a dwelling place in this world. And if you want a dwelling place for this world, you have to separate money of your money, or elevate your money to God, to Torah and mitzvahs, that we should donate. So when Hashem tells us things, and Hashem does things for us, it can be in one instant. In one instant, Hashem came down to the world by Matan Torah. Us, it takes time. And like it says also regarding to Parshas Shkalim and Parshas Zachar, that there's a hefsek, a separation in between. Because we cannot accomplish everything in the world in one shot. It takes time. And therefore we have 15 things to donate to the Mishkan. We have to do it on our pace. And that's what we learned from the Mishkan. The Mishkan is not a present. A unacquired a present. It is something that we accomplished on our own. So l'chayra, why do we have to learn about the Mishkan, which is only an arai? So the Rebbe tells us as follows. If we only had to work upon a mikdash which is in a settled land, and godliness prevails in that land, and there's everything that we need to accomplish, then what will we do in this darkness of Galus? What will we do in this darkness of Galus? This darkness of Galus, we get the koyach from the Ba'asli Mikdash Achanti B'Seicham in the Mishkan, which was not in a settled area. And the Eibush gives us the koyach, that if he gave us the achrayis, he gives us the strength also. He gives us the responsibility, he gives us the strength. So that's why we learn the karbanis in the Torah, because it's as if we bring the karbanis in the Beis HaMikdash, so we're not missing anything. And by learning Hilchas Beis HaBechira, which I have mentioned many times in the 3 weeks that we should learn it, and as we see by Yecheskel Hanavi, he was told to tell the Yidden about the Beis HaMikdash, the measurements. He told Hashem, what are you doing? Our kids are in Galus. The people are in Galus. They don't have a mind for Beis HaMikdash. They don't have the Beis HaMikdash. Who knows when they'll have a Beis HaMikdash? Why tell them the measurements? Hashem says, first of all, Hashem says, if you learn the halachas of the Beis HaMikdash, it's as if you're building it. And Yecheskel did not show them the measurements the way they are in a Beis HaMikdash, in a 3D picture. He wasn't a Hakvar in Galus. He had to show them what it says in the Torah. And by learning Torah and Hilchas Beis HaBechira, that builds the Beis HaMikdash. And that's the teaching of the Mishkan. That don't think that you are in Galus, you cannot accomplish what you have to accomplish. And the reason for that is Shmer Shemayim Lo Yikal Cholucha. That all the heavens and the high heavens cannot accompany you, cannot be a keli, a vessel for you. But Dafke and Golus Eretz, which is not the settled land, in the Midbar, Hashem came down there, made a dwelling place in the Mishkan. And that gives us a koyach. No matter where we are, we can make a dwelling place for God. Like it says, Shachanti b'seicham, in each and every single Jew. So a person come with a taina. That why Zahav, the first one. Let's first start with Kesef and Nechoshes. Let's start with the less stuff. The less precious stuff. Why jump to the gold at first? The Torah says, Zahav, Chesef, and Nechoshes. You have to give Zahav. And every Yid is shaykh to give their best to Hashem. There's no reason. The Torah tells us, Zahav, Chesef, Nechoshes. You don't give what's left over. You give what you have. The Zahav you give to Hashem. Another person can taina. I deal with Zahav. I don't deal with Kesef and Nechoshes. Well, the Eibishter has something else in mind. The Nechoshes, the Kiyar and Nechoshes came from the mirrors of the Yidden in Mitzrayim, of the women in Mitzrayim. Or you can bring to Avodah Zarah, you can bring to Gilei Arayis, you can bring to other Avedis. Hashem wanted this because they beautified themselves for their husbands. They didn't beautify themselves for anyone else. They beautified themselves for their husbands in Mitzrayim. They didn't look at any other men. They didn't look at any other women. There were no lesbians, no gays then. They beautified themselves for their husbands. And it brought Shalom Bayis. Shalom Bayis is that the father is in tune to the wife, and the mother, and the mother's in tune to the father. There's no other outside effects. And that's what Hashem wanted over there. And that is what is precious to Hashem. So therefore, a person cannot say, I'm dealing with Zav, not Kesef Nechoshes. I'm dealing with Kodesh HaKadoshim. Well, I'm sorry. The Kesef Nechoshes is for the other parts, and if there's no Kesef Nechoshes in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, there's no Zahav either. Kodesh HaKadoshim is not valid until you have the rest. So the Eibusha should help. That use out our beauty, use out our holiness, use out our money, use out everything that you have for the Beis Hamikdash. Learn Hilchos Beis HaBechira. Make Kedusha the ultimate thing in your being. Make Kedusha the ultimate thing in your house. Let people know that you give tzedakah to holy organizations and so forth. So the Eibusha shall help that through learning Hilchos Beis HaBechira, through learning the Karban of Eilah, through learning the Karbanis of Shlamim, Teda, Asham, we should actually be bringing those Karbanis, and the same way by Karbanis, it was you bringing your Nefesh HaBahamis, and your Nefesh HaBahamis has to be complete with love to each other. A person cannot say, I'll join to everyone and let everyone else bring the Nechoshes and not me. The Eibusha says, Shachanti b'seicham, each and every Jew. Every Jew has that power. So the Eibusha help. Just like by Karbanis, you have to mechavin, and you have to love each and every fellow Jew. You cannot be a blemish. So too, by learning the Karbanis, you have to do it as if you bring a carbon, you bring your Nefesh HaBahamis. And Be'ezah Hashem, there'll be his hapcha by the changing over of Goyla to Geula by the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi. Take it from Yad Mamash now. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe King Mashiach forever and ever. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe King Mashiach forever and ever. Long live our master, teacher, and Rebbe King Mashiach forever and ever.